So we will start today's proceeding. We have been discussing with you uh, with regard to your syllabus contents. We have completed discussing uh, mergers and acquisition. So basically, what is the merger? What is an acquisition? And how this corporate finance part is basically complete. Now, just to refresh what we have done last week, merger and acquisition, two different mechanisms. Merger, when you say merger, there are two companies and you get together and you do the work. So, in terms of in the event of merger, so the existing companies are not existing. There is no existence of existing companies, right? There is no existence of existing companies. So the new company is being created. But if you say acquisition, that is different from the merger. The existing companies are existing. So for example, there are many, I would say there are three companies A, B, C. A company needs to acquire B and C. That's possible. Any number of companies you can acquire. Now, how do you decide whether you have acquired this particular company? One thing is based on the shareholding. If you have acquired more than 50% of another company, so this another company becomes a subsidiary. So the A acquires 51% of shareholding of B means B is a subsidiary of A. A is parent. Now, if you acquire less than 50 or more than 20, that is an associate company. So when you say associate company, we say a significant influence is maintained in terms of associates. So then you take only the share of profit to your account. Now say A company A has acquired company B's 30% of shares, only 30%. So when you acquire 30%, it is not a subsidiary. You don't control this company's affairs. But only thing you maintain significant influence. That's the word. Not the control, but the significant influence. So when you have significant influence, so it's more than an investment. So when you make an investment, just investment, then your company has invested in other company. Now say you as an individual, you invest in a company. So how do you invest in a company? Many forms. Now say you have money with you, you open a bank account with another bank. Say you are working in a company, you open a bank account with another bank. So basically you have invested in this particular bank in the mode of deposit. You got it? But say if you acquire shares, if you invest in shares, issued shares, then you become what? Shareholder. So the earlier case, you make an investment only. In second scenario, you invested in shares, so then you become a shareholder. If you invest if you acquire more than 50%, then you become a controlling stake. You become a controlling company. If you invest, you have acquired, your money invested and you acquire shares, then it becomes, so ultimately it comes to the entire issued number of shares, you have more than 20%. Now say 100 is the issued capital of this particular company. There is a company, 100 is the issued capital. Slowly you are acquiring, slowly. Day by day you are acquiring 1 or 2 shares, 5 shares. Like end of the day, when you check, you have acquired percentage wise 30%, for example. 30% you have acquired. So then it becomes what? Just about 20% it becomes an associate company. So when you become associate company, so it is impacted to you or the other company. It is impacted to you while your money has been only invested. So then you can take whatever the profit share of this associate company to your account since you are the investor. So you are investing with the purpose of getting something, right? With the purpose of getting something. So when you make normal investment, you are getting what? Dividend. But dividend is basically paid out of the profit after tax. Now, similarly, if you are invested in shares or if you are invested in shares in you acquire shares more than 20%, so you can straight away take share of profit. Now you know what's the difference. Now how does the dividend pay? Dividend is paid after the annual general meeting. So now say if you take 2020 this year, now some companies their financial year ends December. So the financial year is January to December. Some companies, especially the banks, some companies in Sri Lanka we have April to March. Right? That is their financial year. So when the financial year is closed, after a reasonable time period, they will have to convene an annual general meeting to present their audited accounts to the shareholders. At that AGM or annual general meeting, when the shareholders are there, then they can decide how much dividend is paid. Now, why? Your account has been finalized now. Audited account is there. There is no any other deduction of this for this profit. Why? It's finalized, audited. So then you can pay whatever. If you are making profit, you can pay whatever the amount out of this profit, profit after tax. So generally, the profit after tax belongs to whom? Shareholders only. Profit after tax belongs to shareholders only. Which shareholders? Ordinary shareholders. Remember. What about then preference shareholders? Now, preference shareholders we have already paid. Now, the profit after tax derived after deducting the dividend paid to the preference shareholders. Now, profit after tax is basically relevant to or the belongs to ordinary shareholders only. That's all. Keep in mind. So they are the true owners. They are the true owners. Now, when you acquire share, now say you purchase a share in share market. So you acquire share of John Keys. Now, when you purchase share, does the John Keel say dividend amount? No. Dividend percentage? Do they say? No, they don't say. But if you invest in preference share, yes, there is a particular constant dividend payment when you make the investment. 10% of dividend that is there. It's similar to debenture investment. When you invest in debenture or treasury bond, so the coupon interest it's there. It's already by default it's there. So that is the percentage you will be paying. Company will be paying that percentage only. But if you invest in ordinary shares, there is no pre-planned or the predefined percentage of dividend. So why? So they are the true owners. So that when you become a true owner, whatever the repercussion, whatever the positive minus should be accepted by you. So say for example now the company this year make the profit, loss. So then there is no dividend sometimes. For whom? Ordinary shareholders. Who are they? True shareholders. So sometimes they don't get dividend. But can't help. Why? They're true shareholders, ordinary shareholders. Sometimes the company decided not to pay dividend, even they make profit. That is also possible. So there is a project to be initiated, and they need money, and they are not declaring dividend. They need the internal capital. Remember that we discussed internal capital. profit is internal capital, right? Otherwise, there are external capital sources as well, share issue, right issue, whatever, right? We discuss debentures, whatever. Now, so then they decided not to issue, not to declare dividend. That is also possible. For whom? Ordinary shareholders. But dividend investment, dividend investors got their dividend coupon. Yes, yes. Preference shareholders, yes, yes. They have received. So what are the difference? Now since you don't know the amount you will be paying as dividend for the ordinary shareholders, so whatever the dividend you can take it. It can be sometimes 30%. For the debentures, we don't pay 30%. Preference shares, we don't pay 30%. It can be if the shareholders like, if the directors propose to 50% of dividend, that is also possible. That's also possible. Now, you don't know how much you will be receiving as an investor. You have invested in ordinary shares of a company. So the cost of equity is higher than cost of debt. Remember we discussed. Why? You don't know how much. Company does know how much will be paying as dividend for ordinary shareholders. But debentures or the borrowings, do they know how much they'll have to pay? Yes. They know how much they'll have to pay. So why? It's pre-planned. Right? It's already there. But dividend, owners are dividend holders, they don't know how much they will be receiving. The decision will be taken only after the financial year ended, after the audited account is finalized. The account is finalized. So basically, the audited account is released only. They take decision how much dividend will be. So generally, cost of equity. Now, what do you mean by cost of equity? The compensation for the equity. What is that? Dividend is higher than cost of debt. What do you mean by cost of debt? The compensation for the debt. If it is debenture, coupon. If it is borrowing, bank interest. Known to us. But dividend, cost of equity, the compensation for the equity, compensation for the owner's equity, owner's capital, we don't know. So basically, there was a question in your exam, which one is higher? Obviously, cost of equity is higher. Since we don't know how much we'll be paying as debenture, as a dividend for the ordinary shareholder. So basically, the dividend amount, it is unknown until the AGM is called, until the vote is finalized. So if there is a dividend payment, then the shareholders have to vote it against or for. It depends at the annual general meeting. So it is that. So dividend is basically anyway you are getting. Now say, so dividend is basically getting after the ending of the financial year. It takes another 3 to 4 months minimum. Therefore, there is a prescribed period that you should call AGM, right? Now, anyway, it is after 2-3 months or maybe 6 months after the financial year ending. That's a normal thing. Now say there is a company. Their financial year is January to December. You have made investment 30%. You made investment. Now your financial year also January to December. Now we discussed. Now since you are maintaining significant influence, by what do you mean by that? Associate. You have to take share of profit. Why? If you wait until the dividend is to be received, it takes finishing the financial year another 6 months time, but you can't wait until such time. So what happens? You take when you prepare your account, you take whatever the dividend amount you should receive after 6 months time now. Generally accrual basis. Now say there is a now this month we have not received the electricity bill this month. But what does your institution do? Are they waiting until they receive the electricity bill? No, they do provision. Based on the previous experience, they they make the provision for this month, accrual basis. Similarly, similar thing, thinking that you will receive this much of dividend after 6 months time in terms of cash. Now you take the portion which is to be received after 6 months time now to your account. Well, your account has to be also finalized. So we call it what? Share of profits. So when you invest, when you make investment in company, plus you are holding more than 20, less than 50, you can take the share of profit to your account. And so once you receive the dividend, you can set it out. That you know, right? You pay, you take into the P&L, then you take as a receivable. Once the dividend received after 6 months time, then you can just accounting entry to be cash received, then the debtor or the receivable will. And when you take subsidiary, when you finalize your account, so the parent's account, you can add together all these assets and liabilities. Now you are holding 80%. Sure. But the entire asset of this subsidiary you can add, which is wrong. Entire liability of this subsidiary you can add to your parent company liability. Now say you have property, plant and equipment, your account, you are the parent. Subsidiary also the same amount, same what you call same amount, not the same amount, but the same item is there in their balance sheet, property, plant and equipment. Computer. Subsidiary computer. Then what do? You're holding only 80%, right? What do? Entire amount, when you prepare your consolidated account or the group account, the entire amount you added. This is wrong, right? But you are holding only 80%. So how can you add entire amount? Liability also the similar. You have entire amount add, but your liability is only, now if the subsidiary goes wrong, goes bankrupt, so you are liable to pay, you are liable to rescue, you are the holder, you are the owner. Only 80% will be your liability. But here what do? Your entire amount you added together. So then there is this is basically the accounting, right? But in the balance sheet, if you can see your company, your bank's balance sheet towards the bottom of the balance sheet in the group account, right? Then there is a item called minority interest. So you add all these assets and liabilities, and you deduct whatever the not relevant to you, whatever the amount not relevant to you. Now in this case, 20%. So the 20% you have a liability, then you deduct everything. So, right, 20% you deduct everything. So that is basically accounting. So what I wanted to tell you is, now in your exam there was a question in terms of valuation techniques. Right, valuation techniques have been tested in your exam. How the companies are valuing. Now when you want to acquire 80% of shares, you have to value the company. So what's the method we are doing? It due diligence. Remember that there is a method called due diligence. So the entire company is diagnosed. Basically, if you want to acquire somebody, you should know everything of this particular company. So the qualitative, quantitative, everything you should know. Then only you decide whether this company should be acquired or not. So this pricing is reasonable. So now if there is a litigation, there is a pending litigation, but the auditors or the lawyers say there will be a possibility of paying this liable, so there is a possibility of losing the case. So what happens when you acquire? So you will have to pay, right? So then you make a provision if you want to really acquire this particular company, even there is a case is going on. So you make a huge provision. So then what happens? The value of particular company is reduced. So then you don't know the amount you want to pay is less. So similarly, so that's the due diligence. Financial, non-financial, everything. So basically, you know everything about this company. Now say, now if you want to acquire a company, that's a two company A and B. B company B ಇವ ಗಂಡು acquire කරගන්න ඕනේ. But now say, okay, now we take a real example. Now say there is a now with John Keys. John Keys wants to acquire Pan Asia Bank example only, right? Now does the John Keys management know what's happening in Pan Asia Bank inside? They don't know. So the only information they know, the information available in the published documents. That's all. Oh, annual report or otherwise the share market announcement. That's all. Other than that, they don't know what are the labor problems inside, what is the liquidity problem inside, what is the foreign exchange problems, what are the NPA levels, possible NPA. So this guy doesn't know anything. So by doing a due diligence means you evaluate everything and you make a provision. Another classic example, easy example is, now companies have goodwill, but goodwill is not reported in their balance sheet. නමට value එකක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ නමට තියෙන value එක කොහොමද company reflect වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So ඒකින්ද ඒකට මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? ඒකට value එකක් add කරන්න ඕනේ when you acquire a company. So there are methods to be done, right? Net asset basis, replacement basis, the free cash flow method. There are few methods we'll be learning when we discuss this one. And basically, if you take these are the things what we discussed, but only thing what do you mean by restructuring means what? The restructuring means now when the company is making continuous losses, how do you turn around this kind of company? So in short, how the loss-making companies are converted to profit-making companies. That's all. That's turnaround. So that's capitalization or the recapitalization. Capital structuring of capital there. So meaning loss-making companies to convert profit-making companies. So then how do you do this? How do you do this company? Now what happens when the company is making continuous losses? What happens when the company when a company is making continuous losses? Basically, who will be suffering? Owners will be suffering. Who are the owners? Ordinary shareholders will be suffering. So they don't get anything. What do you mean by anything? Dividend. So that is their function. So when you invest in shares, you should get dividend. That's the return on your investment. So they don't get dividend when a company is making continuous losses. Plus, the amount you put is also eroding. What does that mean? So you have put 1,000 rupees investment. You made 1,000 rupee investment in this particular company. This year, company makes 500 loss. So the net worth of this particular company is how much? Only 500. Only 500. Now, if you see this, you understand, right, what I'm saying? Now, in the balance sheet of a particular company, there are two sides: assets and liability. So the assets should be equal to liability. That's the normal equation. Balance sheet. Now, equity is what? Equity is what? Now watch this. Now here what you can see, right? In a particular company, you have shareholding, shares, share capital. We say 1,000, and you have what? Accumulated profit, 200. You see. Then you have this side. This is liability side. Then you have a long-term liability. Long-term liability. Whatever the amount, right? Whatever. Then you have this side what? Assets. Here you have sometimes fixed asset. Then you have a current asset like that. But I'll take straight away here. Right? This is the typical balance sheet you have. Right? So basically, if you add these two sides, it should be carried. Now, what we what we want is this part only. You can see this, right?
No, sir, we can't see.
You can't see this.
No.
Oh. Can you see this now?
Yes, sir, we can see now.
Oh, thank you. Now see, this is a typical balance sheet. Now sometimes if you see your balance sheets or the bank balance sheet or the company balance sheet, it's basically on your basically the vertical side, right? Everything is this side. But for us to here now generally earlier case this side liability, this side asset. T bell. Have you heard T accounts? Similar. Now then after some time then everything is on vertical format. Assets here. Even if at the asset, then below that you have liabilities and equity. So for the time being, I'll take it for us to understand like this, huh? That is in assets. Assets, then the fixed asset and liability. So the both sides should be carried. Now see now here share capital and accumulated profit. When you make this here profit, you add here. That's all. Now share capital plus profit, how do you say? We call it these two equity. These two we call it equity. How much the equity of this particular share, company? 1,200. Equity is not but net worth of shares. Shareholders this is equity. Equity is what? Share capital plus accumulated profit. Or if you have any other reserves, so say there are some reserves other than this profit. General reserves. General reserve. Or otherwise you have revaluation reserve. Revaluation reserve. That is also you add here. All the reserves should be added here. all the reserves should be added. So when you add share capital plus all reserves, we call it equity. For the time being, I'll remove this. So then we have equity, shareholders equity. So the net worth of particular company. So the value of this particular company is how much? 1,200. අපි මුලින් කතා කරේ valuation technique එකක් net asset value. This is the company's valuation. This is the, so what are the deficiencies of this? If you say now, okay, මම මේ company විකුණනවා කීයද ගාණ කියලා අහුවාම ආවා මට දෙන්නකෝ 1200ක් දෙන්නකෝ මම මේ company විකුණනවා. That's right. But actually this company value is only 1,200. නෑ. අයි. ඔයාලගේ මෙතන තියෙන assets. ඔයා මේව ගත්තේ අවුරුදු 10 විතර කලින්. So then you know there should be a revaluation profit. And land එකක් තියෙනවා. අවුරුදු 50 විතර ගත්ත එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් ඊගේ price එක මෙතන අරගෙනත් නෑ. And also, do you have this goodwill here? No. Now this value is only a screen value. At least measure what in MI. Yeah. So the net worth, shareholders' net worth is this equity, right? Equity. So all assets and liabilities. Now this is the part of the liability side, right? So the assets and liabilities should be equal. So the liability has two things. What? Other liabilities and equity. On in a balance sheet, liability side there are two things. What? Other liabilities and the equity. You got it? Both these together, if you take it, then it equals to total assets. That's how it comes. That's how it comes, right? Now, now see this. Now, when you make profits, what happened? Now, say this year, this is balance sheet asset. Okay, you make balance sheet taker. 30th September. That are balance sheet asset, right? Generally, balance sheet goes as asset. And or the income statement for the period, right? You know this asset. So the next year, this guy made a profit of 100. What happened? This becomes 300. Then what happened to the shareholder? Equity goes up. No. This 1,300 belong to whom? Ordinary shareholders only. They only like this company valuation goes up. Ordinary shareholders only. Ordinary shareholders are the persons, are the people who belongs to this amount. Why? They only put this capital. So then the entire profit is belong to them only. Now say this next year this company make a loss of 300. Lost 300. Now the profit becomes now what? 300 you had accumulated profit. Now this year suddenly made a loss. 300 300 with then minus 300. So what happened? 300 minus 300 plus minus for the entire thing. So your profit accumulated profit becomes what? Now 0. So what happened to equity? It becomes 1,000. Are you happy or not? Are you not happy? You are not happy? I have not received any return for my investment, for my capital. You don't like. Now what happened this year? Again they made a profit. They lost 1,000 loss, 100 loss. May Saturday. Then here now 900. Good. This year how much? Now this year may මුඛකාරී හදිසියක් මේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙලා ලොස්සයක් ගන්නවා මේ කම්පැනි 1,200 loss අවුරුද්ද 1,200 loss What happened? 200 becomes what now? 900 becomes what? 200 minus. Do you have amount you put? Owners, owner shareholders, they have put 1000. But ultimately, this year, how much they left with? 200 minus. But how much they have put? 1000. So 1000 put, but you say 200 minus. What do you mean by that? Meaning is what? The amount you put as capital is no more. Why? Company made continuous losses. So that's why when the company is made continuous losses, the shareholders' capital is also eroding. You don't like. So our restructuring means this kind of companies turn around to a profitable company. How do you do? How do you do? So one thing is you can bring capital. How do you bring the capital? You can ask existing shareholders to put capital. What is that? Right issue. Or new shares you are issuing to the existing shareholders only. That can be done. Right issue. But if now say you are investor in this particular company. Now you are asked to put more capital. Do you put capital? No, you don't. Why? This company is making losses, so mage me sale tika kaparadi kiyala you don't put. So then what happens? So then you have to think about other things. What are the other things? You have to turn around this loss into a profit. So then how do you make losses into profit? Obviously, you have to improve the sales so the reduce cost like that. So those are the things you apply to restructure this particular company. Sometimes we have seen if you can't do anything. Now, if you take examples of SOEs, state-owned enterprises. State-owned enterprises are basically loss-making. Government institutions are loss-making. But I don't know whether you can remember the plantation companies which were owned by the government of Sri Lanka have sold to the private sector. Now they are performing well. Basically, sometimes in terms of government institution, what's the problem? Mismanagement. But if you think that there is a potential of this particular company to grow, මේ කම්පැනි මෙහෙම තියෙනවා net worth එක minus වැඩක් නෑ අරගෙන බයයි ගන්න මෙහෙම loss එකක් පුදුම loss එකක් තියෙනවා. So then I decide මට හිතනවා නෑ මේ company there is a potential, so I should buy this company. කමක් නෑ loss වුණාට මට මේක turn around කරන්න පුළුවන්. So there is a new investor coming. There is a new investor come and they acquire. Now he acquires this particular company and he turn around. So actually, same thing has happened to the government sector, plantation company. When the private sector is acquired, when the private sector acquires these government institutions, they start making profit. So there is a problem with the management, that's a mismanagement. So now what I want to tell you, even this kind of company. What do you mean by this kind of net worth minus no value at all? Sometimes අපි QA දැම්මම මේකේ පොඩි ප්ලස් එකක් එන්නත් පුළුවන්. This is a company goodwill එක හොඳ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේ මොනවාද මේ ඔක්කොම due diligence එකක් කරපුවාම there should be a positive valuation එන්නත් පුළුවන්. We don't know. But if you say this is the value level, if you think. Now, I'll tell you one example. Now there are listed companies which make losses. There are companies like that, but their share price are moving. Now, if you take why, what does it happen? Now there is a loss-making company. why should I invest in this particular company? Thinking that Issarahadi company will perform well. So what do you mean by that? There is a potential to grow. As you see now these days, if you are an investor in share market, all the hotel sector shares are going up. Now, are the hotels making profits? No. They are making losses. They actually made huge losses, so there is no choice. So why do they acquire? Why do you invest in hotel shares in Sri Lanka? Uh, thinking that it will once the tourism is when the country is open, when the tourist comes to Sri Lanka, then there will be a. So thinking why do you think that there is a potential to grow? So there are people who think like there are people who think like so then like that so that you can sell this particular company. That is, I'm just giving you the alternative. If the examiner asks you what are the alternatives to turn around this company are these. So one thing is what you can ask your existing shareholders to put capital. Because generally it doesn't happen. තියෙන එකට සල්ලි දෙන්න නැතුව කොහොමද තව සල්ලි දෙන්නේ? Right? Right? Then you can borrow and you can if you have a liquidity problem. Then if you are making losses, then you have to improve sales and those things are general. කොහොමද profit එක වැඩි කරගන්නේ? Then the revenue should be increased or the cost should come down. So then you basically start making profits. So there should be strategies. So if you take this capital structure, to take particular capital structure, then you can issue shares for the existing shareholders. What do you mean by that? Right issue. So then you can ask new shareholders to come and invest. That is a new share issue. When you issue new shares, what happens? What is the impact of the existing shareholders? Their portion is, their shareholding percentage is diluted. Right? So that it doesn't matter. If you think it doesn't matter, then you can go. The only thing you have to keep in mind, restructuring means basically you turn around the companies into profitable ventures. Now, you see this now when a company is acquired. When a company is acquired, sometimes they don't like to be acquired. දැන් කවුරු හරි මාව අත්පත් කරගන්න යනවා නම් කැමති වෙන්නේ සමහර companies. But it doesn't. But that can be happen. That can be happen. Now see now there is a company. So that the restructuring part is done, right? You understand what is the restructuring part. Now here restructuring part is done. There is a tube to be uploaded. I think I will give it to you. Only thing this is regarding. No, they have not uploaded this tube. I will give it to you. Restructuring part. I think there was a tube which I had given to you earlier. That part also includes the restructuring part as well. I will re-upload that. And now say. Now, there is a particular company. Particular company A and B, example, right? A and B. A needs to acquire B, but B doesn't like. A පුළුවන් තරම් shares ගන්නවා B ගේ. කොහොම හරි. කොහොමද ගන්නෙ? Now, if it is a listed company, there should be a free float. What do you mean by free float? The amount you release to the public. What minimum? 25% or 20-25% has to be free float. Means the gandana market shares. What happens if you put shares? What happens? If somebody acquires following day, you finish. Why? Controlling stake is gone. So, maximum done you 20%. So maximum you put 20%. So if you acquire 20% means you can't do anything. You got it? You can't control the company, so that's why. But then what happens is, but this company, some companies are there, 40%, 45% shares have been released to the market. Why? Company they actually issue shares. 45% shares available in the market, liquid share. So can you control, now say if you have a listed company, can you control the person who is acquiring you? The company B එක කියන්න පුළුවන් ඒක listed company එකක්. Company B එක කියන්න පුළුවන් නෑ නෑ ඔයා ගන්න එපා shares මගේ shares ඔයා ගන්න එපා කියලා. Can you say that? Company B doesn't know who are the shareholders. So then I have now, if you take real example, now I have John Keel shares today. Example. For John Keel කැමති නෑ මම shares ගන්නවට. එයා ගන්නවට මම කැමති නෑ. But tomorrow, Monday, I am again purchasing John Keel shares. Can they stop me? They can't. How can they stop? So if somebody is willing to sell, if I want to buy, transaction is happen. So once you release the shares to the market, you don't have control. This particular company does not have control. So that's why you don't issue much shares. Why? You are losing the control. Right? John Keel shares, මගේ ළඟ මම ගන්න වෙන කවුරුත් කියන කෙනෙක්. Company doesn't know. Right? මගේ shares මම විකුණනවා. Company doesn't know. If you like to if you like to purchase John Keel shares, if I am willing to sell, I am selling to you. I put my order, selling. Somebody will purchase. I don't know. I don't know who shares I am buying. I don't know who will purchase my shares. Company has nothing to do with that. So then, but company B doesn't like A acquire this particular company. කැමති නැහැ. කැමති නැත්නම් බලෙන් අත්පත් කරගන්නවා. What do you call? Hostile acquisition. We call it hostile acquisition. Hostile. බලෙන් ගන්නවා. How do you do this? Now say, if you have 45% example, පොඩි ගණන් කිරුවොත් නම් ඒක අමාරුයි. But if you have 45% of shares, now see, I'll tell you a classic example. Now the commercial bank, who has the highest shareholding percentage? Government. It's the government. Who has the highest number of shareholding of HNB? Government. Go and check the shareholder list. EPF is having the large number of shares. So basically, now the government is itself not having anything. Government is not itself having investments in this particular company. But what do you call this? Indirect holding. Remember that we did it? There is no direct holding, but indirect holding. Now, even you acquire shares indirectly, it is more than enough for you to become a subsidiary of parent company. Why? What do you want to do? Only to maintain the percentage. It doesn't matter direct, it doesn't matter indirect. Remember that the other day we discussed direct plus indirect, it becomes a subsidy. Possible. Now, if you can remember the long time ago, I think you must have not remembered this. You are not remembering this. The Stassens Group wants to acquire Harry Jawala wants to acquire HNB. So indirect. Now you know Stassens. Now Melstako. Now present. Now they have a huge number of subsidiaries, and these number of subsidiaries have investment made investment in particular bank. Indirect holding. Indirect holding. Through indirect holding, once you take shareholder, but indirect holding, you become a significant shareholder, then you can acquire. But there was a merger. Now, mergers and acquisition code is there, the legal document. Now, maximum how much acquire by a person of a bank, only 10%. If you want to go more than that, then you have to take the approval from the monetary board. So you can acquire it like that. So the government is basically exempted from this. So the government can acquire it. So once you acquire, if you are maintaining the major shareholder list under you, now this is the government institutions are basically owned by the government. So the government institution and the governments are the same. So the government only says, okay, this guy has to be the chairman of this particular similar, right? So it's basically indirect influence. So you don't like this guy to acquire you. So what happens? You have many methods. These are the methods only I have given you. Free offer. Calling කරන්න පුළුවන් acquire වෙන්න කලින් මේක කරන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් acquire කළාට පස්සේ කරන්න පුළුවන්. Just remember these are unusual words sometimes, right? Just keeping the mind, just keep the words in mind. Exam has several tests, right? These position fields are generally tested. Last time recent paper also they have tested. Just keep in mind, these are the mechanisms to avoid. Here the mechanisms to avoid pre-offer before you being acquired. This is after you being acquired. What are the methods we can do? Very little, but still you can. There are methods just to remember, just keep in mind, right? So that's that. Any question you have in terms of? We are not doing much with you. It's only a small syllabus, small subject topics for you all. Mergers and acquisition is a lengthy subject, right? Mergers and acquisition, basically it's an accounting subject. But investment banking, why the investment bankers are studying this? If you can remember, I give you a role of investment banker. There you must have, you can see mergers and acquisition. So basically they accommodate, they undertake this assignment. They undertake this assignment. So then they assign auditors to do the valuation. They undertake this mergers and acquisition. You can do. So that's why we are learning. That's why we are learning, right? So basically mergers and acquisition. And these are the pre-defense and post-defense of course, right? And also remember the examiner can test you vertical and horizontal also. Vertical and horizontal. This one, horizontal merger versus right? Horizontal means same line of business. The vertical means basically the supply, the two guys in the same supply chain, like fresh milk producer and fresh milk seller. Remember that we take an example, the vertical merger. Right. Methods of paying cash shares. Cash selling shares selling it doesn't matter. But there was a question in the exam. I'll take that question when we do it. There are methods of paying this, settling this cash. This is a friendly merger and hostile merger. There are mechanisms to prevent hostile merger. Now, generally, friendly merger hostile merger you don't like, but you've been acquired. So there are two methods, pre and post. When the wage yanavana, tagala ganda pula hostile merger there before you being acquired. Right? These are the methods. So available, but in detail, I have given you separate note. Benefits from this is important, right? Why this was been tested several times, not in your exam, but the other exam, financial market operation, due diligence process is there. Basically, the diagnosis test. Anchor ගැන කරන්න අපි test කරන්න annually, same thing. You cover everything. There are criteria to be evaluated. It's given here. Reason for restructuring part we have done, completed. Restructuring is this. Basically, you basically turn around the company. Divestiture means sales. Huh? So basically, finally, if you don't see, you can sell it. You can sell it. That's a final, that is the one method of restructuring. Right. Any question you have? So this is a very small topic, but examiner frequently tests this. So we have many questions. I'll be taking with you when we do the question. And the final topic we need to complete with you is this securitization. So securitization. Any question you have? So now, what do you mean by securitization? I'll explain to you with an example, then you can understand easily. Securitization means, now if you see leasing company. Leasing company, what does do they? What does they do? Leasing companies are giving leasing facilities to the customer. Now say you want to purchase a vehicle, brand new vehicle. Right? We say it's 100, or we say it's 10 million example, right? 10 million. Now you don't have money to purchase this particular one. So what happens? What do you do? You go to a leasing company and you take a lease. 5-year lease. Then you bring the vehicle home. Right? You bring the vehicle home. You wanted to purchase this vehicle from the Toyota. Brand new. And what happens is, leasing company pays entire 10 million to the Toyota and take the vehicle and give it to you. Leasing company has to settle fully with the Toyota. And they don't have any agreement or the connection hereafter. Right? Paid everything, taken the vehicle to the leasing company and give it to you. Now you will be paying this particular leasing 10 million plus interest, which is 10 million, over the 60 months, 5-year example. 5-year period, you come to a leasing agreement with the leasing company. So that you will be paying, or you are the car owner. The car is a. So you are using this car, you will be paying monthly installment to the leasing company now, over the 5-year period, over the 60 months. Now see the cash outflow. 10 million goes straight away out of leasing company, but they are receiving this 10 million plus whatever the interest over the 60 months. So then sometimes there is a situation for this leasing company to accommodate this. Why? They have what? Liquidity problem. They don't have money paid advance, but recovery is done over the period of 6 months. So to avoid this, not to avoid, to have more liquidity with the company, they are doing this securitization papers. This is a legalized investment opportunity. You can invest in securitization papers. So what happens is, leasing company, now who is the owner of this particular vehicle? Is it you or leasing company? Leasing company. Absolute ownership is with whom? Leasing company. So then who is keeping this certificate of registration? Leasing company only. You don't have this. They have the CR. So what happens is, they sell this CR to another investor and they take money. That is secret. No, but do you know this? You don't know. You are just paying whatever the installment due to the leasing company. But where does your CR? Somebody else. With somebody else. But only thing, now that is the structuring part. So then once the investor is invested, the leasing company gets money. Leasing company gets money. Once the leasing company gets money, the leasing company is comfortable, alright. For that, they are giving CR, or the certificate of registration, to the investor. So how does the leasing company pay to this investor? Through the recovery of installments. Say now you don't pay installment to the leasing company. It becomes, you don't pay 3 months installment, now it's NPA. Now the leasing company will acquire somehow the vehicle. That's a different story. But what happens? Investor says, you give me either this one, CR is with me, so I don't want to keep this CR with me anymore. Why? There is no value. Company, the vehicle is non-performing. I don't want, the investor says, I don't want vehicle. I need money. I have given you only the money. So what happens is, then the leasing company has to realize, so whatever they have to realize the money and give it to you. What happens is, technically, you will replace this NPA CR with another performing CR. You can have NPA CR අරගෙන හොඳට යන මේ වාහනයක තියෙන CR එකක් එතනට දාන්න. That's how it happens generally. Right? Now, these securitization papers are risky. Pay significant amount of yield. You can understand the risk, right? What's the risk? What's the security? Leasing assets, leased assets. If you don't pay to the leasing company, disaster. How can you recover? So then, of course, the investor is expecting little higher yield by investing in the securitization papers. But if the securitization papers work properly, this is a very lucrative business, good investment, right? And there are terms, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, like that. It depends on the maturity period of this particular. 1 year maturity period is requested. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, like that. Right? Now see, now leasing company is basically comfortable with this. Why? This investor gives entire money to this leasing company. So then everything is perfect. Now investor is paid monthly installment for their investment. Now generally we can see this particular product for these several products. So what are the products? One thing is leasing. And one thing is leasing, the other one is student loans, then the credit card is also there. Now these are the products we can take it. Loans and student loans, credit card receivables, you can do this securitization. You can do this securitization step, right? And now what happens is when you want to create this securitization, when you want to do the securitization payment, there is a now this now leasing company takes CR, certificate of registration. They actually put these into particular company, virtual company. You call SPV, special purpose vehicle, right? When you structure this particular securitized papers, you create a virtual, right? Not existing virtual company. You transfer now say ABC leasing company. You transfer this CR to a one particular company called XYZ. Then XYZ only structure this CR. That's how it happens. Now, generally, for this securitization papers, many people are involved. Now, this is important for your exam. The originator and the special purpose vehicle and the investment bank, credit rating agency. What is the requirement of credit rating agencies? Once you rate your securitization papers, then it gives a third party investor the trust or reliability. How much reliable you pay back. That's the credit card insurance company and the underwriter. If the securitization papers are not taken by investors, then underwriter has to be there. So the obligators are there, then the investors are there. So these are the people who involve in for this securitization transaction. Securitization. In Sri Lanka, we don't see much, but yes, there are leasing companies are basically investing. I'm sorry, the leasing companies are structuring. So leasing company was to structure, so they take assistance from the investment banker. So that's how it relates to us, right? So when the leasing company says I need to I need to issue a securitization paper, then they tell it to you. They tell you investment bankers, investment banking division. So then you do the structuring part. Structuring part in the sense nothing, but only thing you have to take it the remaining maturity period. 1 year maturity, 2 year maturity. Then generally people like the investor like to invest in shorter term. 5 year maturity, 5 year 1 year kamathi. Why? You don't know what will happen after 3-4 years. Whether this guy is paying or not, problem. If this guy is not paying for this leasing installment properly, then there is a problem. So this is that securitization paper. There are questions that examiner has tested with you all. Now everything is explained here in terms of and advantages, disadvantages I have included here. Benefits from financial investment, right? So please go through this and process is also available here. Right. Now with this we have completed. There are many questions. I will take in questions, but this is the essence. This is more than enough for you to sit for the exam securitization test. Now this is your syllabus, and we have completed today's your syllabus. Now any question you have? No, sir. Now, we have completed your syllabus now. Only thing is, we need to start past paper discussion, and also I have given some questions as well. And I have now towards the year, towards the exam, I will give some target questions. Now, based on the previous papers, so there is a pattern of testing papers. I think papers have been uploaded to your portal, right, by IBSL. Am I correct or wrong? Do you have the latest paper with you? 2021 January. 2021 January paper, do you have with you? Now 2019 was the last normal question paper. We had the last the normal examination we had 2019 September. After that we didn't have. So after that 2021 January we had one exam that is to cover 2020 March September, right? The entire to cover. And you know the structure of this particular subject, right? So there is a one question which includes multiple choice questions. Then you have 8 questions altogether with this particular one question. And the question number 1 is basically the multiple choice question, but the last subsection of here, of course, you don't go to you have to write it. There are 2 questions. You have to write it. So the 8 question. Now important thing is, now each mark is very valuable for you. Each mark is very valuable. Why the 46 mark is 46 is the pass mark for you. So do you have this 2021 paper with you all? I think they told me that they will give you link for you all. And that,
yes, sir, they shared some papers, but the 2021 that paper we don't have.
do you have this 2021 paper?
No, sir.
You don't have?
No.
Oh. Now see this one. Now I don't know. You got this email from the IBSL, right? Now there, if you go to download here, you can see this, right? What I'm saying, what I'm doing.
Yes,
This
sir.
particular one.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now DEF. Yeah, you have market operation, then you have investment banking. So the entire paper set is there, but only thing 2021 paper is not.
Yes, sir, that's the case. 2021 paper is not there.
They have not uploaded. Ne? This is the latest they have uploaded. Okay. One paper is not uploaded. Right. I will ask them to I will tell them to upload this paper. 2009, 2019 September paper. Any question you have to clarify? This particular one. Now I just want to do a question with you, this one. So there is a high chance of getting this kind of question. Now this is question number 4 and this particular question. In 2021 paper, this is the paper. Review. Now see now this question. I'll read it to you. This is 2021 latest paper, 2021 January. Since you don't have, I'll read it to you. Weighted average cost of capital is one of the commonly used methods of calculate. This is the question number 3, subsection of 3. There are 5 parts. Now this is third. Weighted average cost of capital is one of the commonly used methods of calculating the cost of capital of a company. Silver Trading PLC is a large conglomerate in the country with the current capital structure of 70% equity, 30% debt. However, the management has decided the optimal capital structure for the company is 60 equity and 40 debt. දැන්ට තියෙනවා 70 equity 70% අයිතිකාරය දාපුවා තියෙනවා debt වලින් අරන් තියෙනවා 30ක්. නමුත් මේක කම්පැනි හිතනවා මේක නෙමෙයි හොඳ. වැඩිපුර ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ debt කියලා හිතනවා. එහෙනම් debt වෙන්න නම් debt 30 එක 40 ට වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේ. equity එක 70 එක 60ට බහිස්සන්න ඕනේ. Company is looking at a new project which will be financed by both equity and debt. Cost of equity of the company is 12% and cost of debt is 14%. Company is currently paying corporate tax 28% per year. That's all. Then the question is asked for 5 marks. Based on the above information, calculate the weighted average WACC, weighted average cost of capital of Silver Trading Company. Show your calculation. Now it's a 5 mark question. Same question. There is no difference. Now see, read this question. That is 2021 January. Now read this question. Majority of business are run on. Now this is the question number 4. Now I told you in the first lecture. Now even the students think that even the students think the latter part of the question paper, the lengthy question, the text type questions are difficult. It is not so. Now, if you listen to this question which I read it to you, only thing what you have to take into the account, their capital structure is new one, 60/40, and cost of equity is 12, cost of debt is 14, then you have tax. 5 marks. Other things are irrelevant. So if you see the text is little higher, text is little too much, then you will be basically afraid of attempting this question. But don't do that. These are the questions easiest. Text type questions are the easiest question for you. Why? Now, if you take the multiple choice question, if you don't know the answer, meaning you don't know. You can't be sure. If you don't know the answer, you can just put it whatever the multiple choices, you can select it. But you don't know perfectly the purpose the answer is correct or wrong. But here, you can give the correct answer. Now, only thing you have to pretty concentrate what we have done with yours. So the nothing coming out of syllabus. Even you get out of syllabus, whatever the thing, it maximum you can lose only 5 marks. But that is also for the multiple choice question only. The text type question, they are within the syllabus. Multiple choice question, you can ask anything. Like sometimes you may not know. Sometimes, right? Now, 2021 paper is also easy question paper. Now there was a 2 mark question. Now see, what is not a component of capital asset pricing model? So you have to keep in mind the capital asset pricing model. Many questions, right? Now see, now this question. So what I want to tell you is, don't discourage by having or by looking at the amount of text of these examples, these questions, right? Those are the easiest questions. So first I thought of doing this text type question with you just to give an encouragement. So they will ask about interest rate, which instrument to be issued. Now same time, same questions are repeated. If sir had interest rate and then what is the instrument you should now? Just a question in this paper. Oh, yeah. They have given some indicators of which instrument you issue. So those are the questions they are asking, not other than that. So towards the exam, I will take some present scenario based questions as well. So we are actually there can be questions from that how this present scenario, exchange rate and everything. So after doing some questions with you all, now see, now this question, now see, majority of businesses are run on borrowed funds and cost of capital becomes an important parameter. Now see, this is important. I think there is a possibility of testing this time as well, right? Now remember cost of capital. If you can remember, we can recall what we have done. Cost of capital comprises many. Cost of equity, cost of debt, cost of preference shares. Remember that we did it. Cost of equity again what? Equity compensation. Equity compensation is what? Dividend. So then how did we find the cost of equity? How did we find the cost of equity? There are two methods we learn. One thing is dividend model. The other one is CAPM. Now I told you in your exam, formulas are not given. When we doing project appraisal. There was a project appraisal question. I'm just giving you the background of this particular one. And 2021 January, we have a right issue question as well. Right issue. It's a lengthy question. Right? Now, cost of equity, cost of capital. Cost of capital comprises many, cost of equity is one of them. Two methods available, dividend, CAPM. Now the examiner testing you on the CAPM here. This time, he can test you on dividend model. There was a question in the exam as well. Right? Now, there was, if you see the examiner's report, one of the least answered question is this. But nothing. If you know the formula, it's basically nothing. Just an application of the formula. Analysts and investors use weighted average cost of capital to assess the investor's return on the investment in a company. Now, weighted average cost of capital is what? If you recall the project appraisal we did it. All these cash flows and discounted into today's term. So what is the percentage we are using? Discounting factor. What is that? If you take it to individual, that is alternative investment. Man bond එක invest කරන්න මට FD එක හම්බ වෙනවා 10,000 කාන මට මේකෙනුත් ඕන. But if you come to a company, it is not so. They have a cost. Capital එකට cost එකක් තියෙනවා, borrow කළා නම් සල්ලි ඒකට cost එකක් තියෙනවා. All these you put together, then you decide whether this project is acceptable or not by using this cost of capital. Got it? So here they are talking about the weighted average cost of capital. Weighted average cost of capital comes why? Debt and equity both. දෙකම තියෙනවා නම් තමයි weighted average. නැත්නම් they are asking cost of equity. නැත්නම් they are asking cost of debt separately. If you add together, then weighted average cost of capital. That is your company's total cost. Like if you are working in a bank, cost of funds. That is your cost of fund. Here the company's cost of capital. Right? Following data is available on the current financial market and the entire entity you are analyzing. 10-year bond. 10-year bond yield, 10.5%. Government treasury bond. Or whatever. It doesn't say exactly which one. But we'll have to take this as a government treasury bond. Why? Why I say so? So somebody can say that this can be a corporate bond. So the private firm issued bond. But I'm saying no, you can't treasury bond. Why I say like that? Now see the exam question. Based on the above information, calculate the cost of equity using CAPM model. We have learned two methods. One is cost of equity. The other one is to calculate the cost of equity. We have learned two methods. One is dividend model. The other one is CAPM. So the CAPM formula is what? A risk-free rate plus beta within bracket you have market risk return and minus risk-free rate. So I'm just not using this one. So we'll be starting next week. But I'm giving you the examples. The examiner tests you. You have to keep in mind. So the same question is repeated this time. This is 2019 September, and here is 2021 January. Same type of question is repeated. So I just want to give you, there is a possibility of repeating the same question, same type of question frequently. Now some people say, no, last exam paper tested this question, this paper not tested. No, very rare. Now that is not the pattern for your exam, especially in investment bank. That is not the view, right? That is not the way. So only thing you have to keep in mind. So basically, we can start doing past paper questions with you all next week. Here the answer is given, right? Okay. The answer is given. Now we will take these questions, but only thing I just wanted to give encouragement by doing 2021 paper. I will ask them to upload, and also I just want to show it to you. I just want to show it to you this as well. Financial markets operation paper. This paper is also go in line with your exam. Anybody who is doing this paper is vital to have this particular investment banking and public taxes. Both syllabus contents are a little different, but only thing there are some questions which are relevant to us. Now see this question. Calculate the price of a bond. This is our question, we did it. But examiner in your exam, examiner has not tested this type of question yet. But he has tested several questions on the bond calculation, but not as similar as this. Now the details of the 3-year government security issued by the government of Sri Lanka, the issue date 2019 August, maturity date 2022, coupon rate is given, coupon frequency is given. Even the examiner does not give the coupon frequency, you should be able to understand why. Semi-annual, why? Government security. Issue yield 730%, face value 1000. That is also something different. We have learned face value in Sri Lanka is how much? 100. But here it says 1000. It doesn't matter. So then you take the cash flows and you do the discount. And so we have learned different methods. The examiner has given you the answer as well. But we have learned several different methods, right? You take all these cash flows, semi-annual, how long, 19, how many periods you'll have to take it, depends on the frequency of interest payment or the coupon payment, right? So how many periods you have, how many coupons you have. Depending on that only you decide the number of periods. Now see, this is not from your exam, but from the financial market operation. I am pretty sure that same question will be repeated, or they will put some different values in your exam this time. So there are assurance. There are some targeted questions I will be giving it to you towards the exam, so then you can do that as well, right? So my request is we'll be starting the doing past papers. The latest we are started from the latest to the back, and some questions I'll be taking or picking up which is relevant for us to do it. Now, for example, if you see the malpractices of share market, which is very vital question for us. Running, insider trading, churning, there are many malpractices important now. Why the share market is going up? Can test. Examiner can test. So we will be covering everything, right? With the paper questions as well. And I will do some questions as well. But only thing my request is, before you come next week, please go through the notes and come. Just have a look at the latest paper, just have a look at the previous paper, and understand how the questions are coming. And my humble request is just go through the notes and come. Otherwise, no point of just listening to me while I am doing the question. So I'll be using the board next time. Try my best to do this. Then we will have a good session for the entire 2-hour session on the past question. So anything. So the next week. So if you have anything you need to clarify, you will first clarify on the theory subject for you all. If you have any doubt areas, then if you have no questions to clarify, then we will start from next week. We will start past paper questions from next week. Right? Sounds good. Any further clarification you need? I will be uploading some investor ratios to you all. You can say it. I will give it to them. Only thing, the price earning ratios. There are many questions. That's why I have not taken with you all, just to waste of time. So how do you decide whether the share should be accepted or not based on the price earning ratio? Price earning ratio is basically market value divided by EPS. So I will show it to you how this price earning ratio derived, and the lowest one you have to select. So there are many questions on this price earning ratio, the investor ratios, and the lowest one you have to select. So we will be discussing all these things. Any question you have? So then we will meet up for next week. Please go through the notes which I have given to you, and then we can start the past paper questions from next week onwards, right? So the students, thank you very much for participation. We will start the past paper questions next week, right? Thank you very much.